All right, so get ready, because we are diving deep into a true crime case that is, well, it's like something out of a nightmare.
Oh, yeah?
This is the story of Amanda Overstreet.
Okay.
This teenager disappeared back in 2005.
Wow.
And get this, years later, her remains were discovered in the most unexpected place.
Wow.
A freezer being sold on Facebook.
What?
I know you can't make this stuff up.
No way.
We've got news articles as our sources for this deep dive, including some really powerful quotes from Amanda's mother.
Oh, wow. It's hard to imagine the shock of that new homeowner, opening that freezer, expecting frozen food and finding that.
Absolutely. So to paint a picture for you,
Yeah.
Amanda was only 16 when she vanished from Grand Junction, Colorado.
Oh, wow.
She'd been living with her mom, Leanne Eimer, and her stepfather, Bradley Eimer. But here's the first strange twist.
What's that?
She was never reported missing.
That's unusual, especially for a minor. It makes you wonder what was going on within that family dynamic. I mean, what could lead to a teenager's disappearance not even being reported to the authorities?
Well, according to news reports, Bradley claimed Amanda ran away during a road trip to Texas. They supposedly argued he pulled over and she just took off. But, that raises a red flag for me right away.
Yeah.
If my teenage daughter ran off during a road trip, my first call would be to the police.
Exactly, and it gets even more complicated.
Oh, no.
Amanda's mom, Leanne, claims Bradley told her that he'd contacted Amanda's grandfather in Texas after that alleged runaway incident. And get this, supposedly the grandfather didn't want to involve the police either.
Hold on. If Bradley did contact the grandfather, wouldn't he have insisted on a police report? What could possibly prevented him from at least attempting to file a report?
It's a question that really begs for an answer. There's a definite lack of clarity around the grandfather's role in all of this. What was his relationship like with Amanda? Why wouldn't he want to report her missing? This missing piece of the puzzle really adds to the mystery.
It definitely does. And then there's the whole issue of the freezer where Amanda's remains were eventually found. It was in Leanne and Bradley's garage this whole time. They were using it, eating food out of it, completely unaware of the horrifying secret it held.
I've been looking into some of the forensic aspects of similar cases. In situations where a body has been concealed for a really long time, like in a freezer, forensic analysis can often reveal some pretty crucial details, things like the estimated time of death, potential causes, or even how the body was placed there. Those details could offer a lot of insight into what happened to Amanda.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So basically, the freezer itself might hold clues that go beyond just the discovery of Amanda's remains. It could be a treasure trove of forensic evidence, but we also have to consider the psychological aspect of this.
Yeah.
Leanne told reporters she believed Amanda was out there living her best life. She was expecting Amanda to show up one day, maybe with news about a wedding or a baby.
That's a really interesting psychological element. It makes you wonder, was this a coping mechanism, a way to deal with that unbearable thought that her daughter might be gone?
Denying the possibility of something terrible happening can be a way to protect yourself from overwhelming grief and fear. It's a natural human response to trauma. But to hold on to that belief for years with no contact from Amanda, it speaks to a very complex emotional landscape.
Absolutely. And imagine the emotional turmoil when that belief was shattered by the discovery in the freezer.
It's heartbreaking. So we've got this missing teenager, a stepfather with a strange story about a runaway, a grandfather who remains a shadowy figure, and a mother clinging to hope against all odds. But there's another layer to this case, and it's a modern one.
You mean the online attention this case has gotten? It's become quite a sensation in the true crime community.
Exactly. People are fascinated by the strange circumstances, the lack of answers in the years that have passed. It sparked a lot of online sleuthing, with amateur detectives sharing their theories and trying to piece together what happened. But there's a flip side to that coin.
Yeah, speaking of all that online attention, it raises another important point.
Okay.
While online interest can sometimes shed light on cold cases, it also brings a risk of misinformation and even harassment.
Right.
And tragically, that's something Leanne has experienced firsthand.
Oh, no.
She's reported receiving online threats accusing her of being involved in Amanda's death, despite her insistence that she's been cooperating with authorities.
That's just awful.
Yeah.
It's a stark reminder that behind these captivating cases are real people grappling with unimaginable pain.
Yeah.
It's so crucial to approach these discussions with sensitivity and respect, letting law enforcement handle the investigation, but While we're talking about the investigation, it's worth noting that Bradley, the stepfather, died in 2021 from complications related to COVID-19.
That's right, and his death adds another layer of complexity to this already tangled web.
Right.
We can no longer question him directly about what happened during that road trip to Texas, whether he truly contacted Amanda's grandfather, or any other details that might help clarify the events surrounding Amanda's disappearance.
It seems like every answer we uncover leads to more questions. And speaking of questions, what about Bradley's past legal troubles? We know he had a history of drug and weapons charges. Could that be connected to Amanda's disappearance?
Well, those charges stem from an incident in Arizona back in 2002.
Okay.
He was pulled over for erratic driving, and police found methamphetamine and 8 illegal guns in his vehicle.
Oh, 8 illegal guns. That's not just a minor offense. It suggests a potential pattern of illegal activities.
It certainly paints a picture of someone who operated outside the law. Now, we can't definitively say those charges directly relate to Amanda's disappearance, but it's a piece of the puzzle that investigators would need to consider.
But couldn't one argue that finding Amanda in his freezer seems almost too convenient? Almost staged? Like a classic attempt to misdirect the investigation.
That's an interesting perspective. It's possible that if he were involved, placing her remains in a seemingly obvious location could be a calculated move, hoping to make it appear like an open and shut case of a runaway who met a tragic end. It would certainly buy him time and potentially deflect suspicion.
So how does this freezer fit into the timeline? Was it the same one they had when Amanda disappeared? Could this detail help investigators narrow down what happened?
That's a great question, and it highlights the importance of a thorough forensic investigation. Determining if the freezer was purchased before or after Amanda's disappearance, analyzing its contents for any trace evidence, even examining its condition and usage could potentially provide valuable insights into the timeline of events.
And let's not forget the grandfather. He was Amanda's legal guardian after all. Why wasn't there more urgency from his side when she disappeared?
It's definitely a point that deserves further scrutiny. Was he truly aware of Amanda's disappearance? If so, what prevented him from taking action? Were there underlying family issues or personal reasons that influenced his decisions? There are still many unanswered questions surrounding his role in all of this.
It's like everyone involved has a piece of the puzzle, but no one is willing or perhaps able to put it all together.
Yeah.
And without a complete picture, it's difficult to determine whether Amanda's disappearance was truly a runaway situation or something far more sinister. It's unsettling to think that this family was living with such a dark secret, hidden in plain sight. They were literally eating food from the same freezer that held Amanda's remains.
Right.
It's almost too bizarre to comprehend.
Yeah, it's a stark reminder that sometimes the most disturbing truths are concealed within the walls of our own homes. We create these narratives, these beliefs about our families and loved ones. And sometimes those narratives blind us to the possibility of something sinister lurking beneath the surface.
Sobering thought.
Yeah.
We construct these images of reality, and sometimes they're shattered in the most shocking ways.
Yeah.
And in this case, the shattering of that reality came with the discovery of Amanda's remains.
Yeah.
It brings up a lot of questions about the nature of secrets denial and the complexities of family dynamics.
Absolutely. This case is like a microcosm of those themes, and it makes you wonder how many other families are living with similar secrets buried deep within their homes, their relationships, their pasts.
It's a chilling thought, and it reminds us that truth can be elusive, hidden in the shadows, waiting for the right moment or the right discovery to be revealed.
It's interesting to consider how Amanda's story might have unfolded differently if there had been more open communication within the family.
Yeah.
If she had felt safe confiding in someone, if her concerns had been heard and addressed, perhaps this tragedy could have been averted.
That's a powerful observation. It highlights the importance of creating an environment where young people feel safe and supported, where they can openly express their struggles and seek help without fear of judgment or reprisal.
It's a message that extends beyond this particular case. It's a message for all of us, a reminder to be attentive to the young people in our lives, to listen to their stories, and to provide them with the resources and support they need to navigate the challenges of adolescence and beyond.
Well said. And while we may never have all the answers in Amanda's case, perhaps her story can serve as a catalyst for those crucial conversations, for fostering greater awareness and support within our own families and communities.
It's a legacy that could honor her memory in a profound way, transforming tragedy into a force for positive change. And for those who continue to grapple with the unanswered questions for Leanne and all those who loved Amanda, we offer our empathy and hope that one day they may find some measure of peace and resolution.
And to our listeners, we leave you with this Sometimes the most important stories are the ones unfolding right in front of us, waiting to be heard. Let Amanda's story be a reminder to pay attention to the whispers, the subtle cues in your own life and relationships. Be present, be attentive, and be a voice for those who need to be heard.